The wedding day arrived, and the ranch was full. People from all over showed up. Cowboys from other ranches, people from the city, and even acquaintances of Jack who came from far away. Everyone wanted to see that moment. Ingrid looked beautiful. She wore a light-colored, simple, but elegant dress. Jack had insisted on having something special made for her. Small wildflowers were carefully placed in her hair. As she walked along the makeshift path between the ranch buildings, Tom was beside her, proud, as if he were family. He accompanied her in place of the father she no longer had. On the other side, Jack waited in front of the main house, where they had set up a small space for the ceremony. He was well, but clearly nervous, more than Ingrid had ever seen him before. But the moment their eyes met, everything changed. The nervousness vanished and gave way to a genuine smile, full of joy. The ceremony began, simple but full of meaning. The words spoke of love, of commitment, of walking together, no matter what happens. And for both of them, it made even more sense. After everything they had been through, then came the most important moment. Jack answered first, "I do." His voice was firm, but full of emotion. Then, everyone looked at Ingrid. She took a deep breath and answered, "I do," confidently. Without a doubt, and at that moment, two lives that began on such difficult paths were united forever. When the man conducting the ceremony announced that they were now husband and wife, Jack didn't waste any time. He approached Ed and kissed Ingrid. It was a kiss full of feeling, so genuine that it made everyone around react. Some clapped, others whistled, laughing. Ingrid felt a little awkward, but she didn't pull away. She was happy. After that, the celebration began, and it was unforgettable. The food was incredible. There was a little bit of everything: well-prepared meat, fresh fish, vegetables harvested right there, and a large, beautiful cake that caught everyone's attention. People laughed, talked, danced, told stories. The party went on until the night was well advanced. But there was one moment that no one forgot. Danny, the boy Ingrid had saved, even though he was still weak, he stood up with effort. He raised his glass and said, "To Mrs. Thornton." Everyone fell silent. "The woman who saved my life." He looked at Jack, "and made our boss the happiest man we've ever seen." He smiled. "May your story inspire many others." The place erupted in applause. Ingrid couldn't hold back her tears, but they were tears of happiness. Jack squeezed her hand tenderly, slowly. The party was ending. People began to leave. When everything became quieter, Ingrid and Jack were alone. On the porch of the main house, now. Their home. Jack looked at her with a gentle smile and full of love. "Mrs. Thornton," said Jack, holding Ingrid's hands. "What's it like being a married woman?" She smiled, her eyes shining. "It's like finally being home," she answered sincerely, as if everything I've lived before had prepared me for this moment. Jack gently pulled her closer, and there, on the porch, they began to dance slowly. The music came from afar, where some men were still celebrating. But at that moment, it seemed like only the two of them existed. After a while, Jack said, "I have something for you." He put his hand in his pocket and took out a small box. When he opened it, Ingrid was enchanted. It was a golden medallion, simple but very beautiful. "Jack, it's beautiful," she said, moved. He placed the necklace around her neck. "Open it," he asked. She opened it carefully. Inside, there was a small photos of the two of them, taken that very day. And on the other side, It was engraved. Forever and ever. Ingrid took a deep breath. "Now, you'll always have me close to your heart," Jack said softly. She smiled. She moved closer and replied softly, "Already do." And then she kissed him again, under the starry sky. Time passed, and the first year of marriage brought many things. Happy moments, and also challenges. Ingrid continued taking care of the people on the ranch, but now, she also helped in other areas. She organized important things, received visitors, and stood by Jack through everything. The two became true partners. Little by little, that story that began on a cold night transformed into something strong, beautiful, and lasting. As time passed, Ingrid showed that she was incredible at everything she did. Both as a nurse and as a partner on the ranch, she had real talent. People started talking about her all over the region. Her skill became almost legendary. She helped many people. She cared for a disease that spread in a nearby town. She helped deliver babies amidst a heavy snowstorm and even saved an injured man, carefully removing a projectile. But more than that, what made it all special? It was her partnership with Jack. The two worked as a perfect team. Ingrid also had a very good eye for business. She gave ideas, suggested changes, and helped the ranch improve even more. Jack truly trusted her. He never made important decisions without hearing her opinion or talking about them. Some even came from far away just to meet the couple. The story of how Jack met Ingrid on that cold night became something people told in conversations, in homes, on trips, anywhere. It was an inspiring story, but not everything would be easy. One day, the past returned and brought problems. In the spring of a few years later, a man appeared in town. It was someone Ingrid knew, and it wasn't good news. It was the doctor who had already caused her problems in the past. The same one who tried to harm her. When Ingrid read the message announcing his arrival, she became worried. He came to cause trouble, she said seriously. He never forgot what happened. Jack heard everything and replied firmly, "Let him come." His gaze became more serious. Here, things are different. 3 days later, the man arrived at the ranch, and he wasn't alone. He came accompanied and with documents in hand. He wanted to question Ingrid's right to work. He wanted to take everything from her. At that moment, a new battle was about to begin. The man was thin, pale, and had a cold look. The kind of person who sent shivers down your spine just by looking at him. He maintained a strange smile on his face. One of those smiles that doesn't seem sincere. When he saw Ingrid, he spoke with feigned politeness. "Mrs. Thornton," he inclined his head slightly. Or should I say, Miss Solberg. The atmosphere grew heavy. "I'm here to investigate allegations of illegal medical practice." Before Ingrid could answer, Jack stepped forward. He stood between the two of them. "My wife is a registered nurse," he sighed firmly. "She has documents to prove it." The man gave a small smile. "Documents aren't worth much." He spoke calmly, but especially when the person was dismissed from their job for misconduct. Ingrid felt her heart race, but she didn't back down. The man looked directly at her. "Did you tell your husband what happened back there?" The silence was heavy for a second. Then Ingrid answered, fearless, "Yes, I told you." She kept her voice firm. "I told you about a cowardly man who tried to do something wrong and who ended up getting a good lesson." Jack didn't take his eyes off the man, and he just smiled. "Interesting," he said, ironically. "Your word against mine." He crossed his arms. "I'm a well-known, respected doctor." He looked Ingrid up and down. "And you?" He gave a slight, cold smile. "Well, let's just say not everyone would trust your version." The air grew heavy, but one thing was clear. Ingrid was no longer alone. This time, she wasn't going to back down. The man was still going to say something else, but there wasn't time. Jack advanced, and he landed a direct punch to his face. The man fell to the ground instantly. The officers, startled, tried to react. But suddenly, several men appeared around. They were the ranch workers. All of them looked unfriendly. The police chief looked around and realized he was at a disadvantage. He grew nervous. Calm down. Calm down. Jack took a deep breath, trying to maintain control, even with his eyes full of anger. He spoke firmly. You want to question my wife? He took a step forward. Then let's do this the right way. In the city. In front of everyone. 3 days later, the hearing took place, and it seemed like half the region had come to watch. Many people were there. And it wasn't out of curiosity. It was to support Ingrid. One by one, people began to speak. People she helped, that she saved. That she cared for when no one else could. Everyone told their stories. A doctor from the city also spoke. He clearly stated that Ingrid was excellent at what she did. Even an important authority sent a letter, praising her work. Little by little, the accusations began to crumble. Nothing the man said held up. And then, the truth came out. He wasn't who he claimed to be. He had lost his job due to serious mistakes and problems. And he had harbored resentment towards Ingrid for a long time. When Tom spoke, everything became even clearer. He recounted how Ingrid saved the young man's life at the ranch. Something no one else there could have done. The place fell silent. The judge listened to everything. He thought for a moment, and then he made his decision. Quick, direct. The judge looked at Ingrid and spoke firmly. Mrs. Thornton. He paused briefly. Your work in this territory has been exemplary. Everyone fell silent. Your certificate is valid, and you are authorized to continue practicing your profession here. A wave of relief swept through the room, but the judge wasn't finished yet. He turned his gaze to the other man. As for you, his voice grew harsher. I recommend you leave this territory as soon as possible, he added, before these people decide to act on their own. The room erupted in applause. Ingrid barely had time to react. Jack was already beside her, egged her, and spun her around in the air, smiling. It's over, he whispered. He can't hurt you anymore. Ingrid looked at him with emotion. We did it, she smiled. Together. And added, and together, we can face anything. That night, the celebration was even more special, but amidst the joy, Ingrid realized something important. Their story wasn't just about the two of them. It had become something bigger, something that inspired other people. It showed that it was possible to start over, that the past doesn't define the future, and that, with courage and love, it's possible to overcome any obstacle. Years passed, and life went on. Some time later, Ingrid and Jack were already known throughout the region. The ranch grew. It became bigger, stronger, and a landmark. More important than all of that was what they had built together. A life, a partnership, a story that began in the cold and ended by warming the hearts of many people. But what truly made Ingrid stand out was what she did for people. She didn't just think about the ranch, she thought about everyone around her. Ingrid helped create the first real hospital in the region, an organized place, well cared for, where anyone could be treated. People from far away came seeking help there, and she didn't stop there. She also created a school. There, she taught other women how to care for people, how to save lives. especially in places where no one else went. Her work became so well known that people started talking about her in other places. Even distant cities heard about what she did. Little by little, Ingrid began to be invited to teach and share everything she knew. Jack also grew a lot, but in a different way. He began to help with important decisions in the region. He wanted to improve people's lives. He invested in businesses, helped develop the region, and brought more opportunities for everyone. But maybe their greatest achievement was something even more special. They helped build a small town, a place with houses, a school, a church, shops, everything designed to give a better life to the families who lived there. It was more than just a place. It was a home for many people. In the midst of all this, their story continued to inspire others, showing that starting over is possible, that love can change destinies. But, above all, their greatest happiness was at home. With their family, they had children. First came two boys, full of energy and curiosity. Then, a girl, sweet, cheerful, the joy of the house, little Rebecca. The name was chosen with care and with respect for their story. And so, life that began with pain and uncertainty transformed into something beautiful, strong, and full of meaning. She'll be a healer, just like her mother, Jack said, watching his daughter sleep. Look at those little hands, Ingrid laughed. Or a farmer like her father, she replied playfully. Those hands look strong enough to take care of horses. Jack chuckled softly. Maybe both. He hugged her tenderly. Here at home, we believe that anything is possible. The two stayed there in silence, watching their children sleep. And at that moment, Ingrid began to think about everything she had lived through. Since that cold night, alone, not knowing what to do. Until now, a home, a family, love. It was more than she had ever imagined. Jack looked at her as if he knew exactly what she was thinking. Do you regret anything? He asked calmly, leaving everything behind. Coming here, he gave a slight smile. Battling everything on a cowboy, Ingrid didn't even need to think. Never. She answered firmly. That night, when you found me. She smiled, moved. It was the most important night of my life. She held his hand. Everything that happened before only brought me to you. Toti's life, Jack approached, and it kissed her forehead tenderly. I love you, Ingrid Thornton. More than I ever imagined, said Ingrid, with a smile full of emotion. And I love you, Jack. She held his face tenderly. Forever and ever. Outside, the wind passed slowly through the trees. The sounds of the ranch grew calmer. Some men were still talking in the distance. A soft touch of music echoed, and everything seemed peaceful. Inside that house, there was something even stronger than any storm. Love. The years passed, and their story was not forgotten. Quite the contrary. It was told from person to person, from generation to generation. Many people were inspired by them, by their courage to start over, by their strength to move forward, and by the love they built together. Their children grew up and followed their own paths. One cared for the land, another cared for the people, and the daughter carried on the family values. Each, in their own way, continued what their parents began. The small town they helped build also grew. It became a place full of life. The hospital helped thousands of people. The school educated many others who continued doing good what Ingrid started. But perhaps the most important thing of all wasn't the fame, nor the success, nor everything they built, but rather the example they left. Because, in the end, that story that began on a cold night proved one simple thing. that it doesn't matter where you come from, nor what happened in the past. There's always a chance to start over. And sometimes, all you need is a single opportunity and someone who believes in you. They prove something very important, that love can be born in the most difficult moments, that completely different people can build a beautiful life together. All it takes is respect, shared dreams, and the decision to never give up on each other.